My name is Farhan Hussein, and this is my step one story. Congratulations! You did it, you made it. You made it out of the 2 years of basic sciences, a time in our lives that we like to call the worst time of our lives. You worked your butt off, and now it's time to kill your step one USMLE exam. So I'm gonna tell you what I did. Granted, what I did may not work for you, but hopefully I can be of some help. So my first MBME after basic sciences, I bombed it. I got like a 160 or something. And then after 6 weeks of mediocre studying, I got a 294 on my step one exam. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, I did improve my score about 40 points in 6 weeks, so here's what I did. So when I first came home after basic sciences from SGU, I took 2 weeks off. Zero studying, no studying at all. I just chilled with family and friends and really just tried to relax as much as possible. This was really essential for me to do because I knew I had to re-energize myself and get ready for the 6 long weeks ahead of me. Now the first myth that I'm gonna bust is that you need to wake up at 6 a.m. every single day to do well on your exam. This is a fallacy! This is the biggest fallacy of our times! If you've comfortably made it to this point by staying up till 3 a.m. and waking up at noon, then stick to that. Stick to what works. Like Diplo said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. At first, I tried to get up at 5, 6 a.m. every single day because I was told that it's important to simulate test conditions. But every single time I'd wake up that early, I never felt like you had the energy or the focus to be studying all day, especially on the days that I wasn't taking cocaine. I've never consistently woken up at 5 a.m. every single day, so why would I start doing that now? Another issue related to that I'd like to address is the notion that you have to be studying 12 hours a day. That also didn't work for me because I've never in my life studied for 12 hours a day every single day. So why would I start now? It's different when you're in school and you have a week to memorize everything you know. Then 12 hours a day is reasonable. But for an exam like step one, where we have the time to really sit down and learn, 12 hours a day is just gonna burn you out and it's not reasonable. So if you subtract all the time I spent recording myself eating food, DMing Instagram models, and just eating food, I probably studied 8 hours a day. And that's like 1 hour of pretending to study. So let's say I studied on average about 7 hours a day. That being said, I did change my schedule about a week and a half before my exam. My step one exam was at 8 a.m. So the last week and a half, I did start waking up at 6 a.m. and I did start studying about 8 to 10 hours. But I know if I did that for 6 weeks straight, I would have definitely burned out. But for the main portion of my studying, I'd comfortably wake up at 8 a.m. and go to bed around midnight. Now I know what you're thinking, but Farhan, what resources did you use, bro? The gold standard for resources to use during step one studying is UFAP. That's UWorld, First Aid, and Pathoma. Shout out to Imam Sitar. I did use Sketchy Micro and Sketchy Farm because I was using those throughout my basic sciences. Something different that I did from a lot of students is that before I started actually studying, I took 2 days to just lightly read First Aid front to back. I did that to get comfortable with the book and to kind of gauge how intense each section was. And honestly, I feel like it gave me a good warm-up before I started actually studying. So the first thing I would do in the morning every day was a block of UWorld. If there's one single piece of advice that I want you to take from this, is to do your UWorld on test mode. I started off doing my UWorld blocks on tutor mode, and by the end of the block, I'd look at the time and be like, oh, it's only been an hour, I'm good. This is a lie. This is a false narrative. Once you start doing them in timed mode, the pressure is on. And this gives you a chance to work on your time management for the actual exam, which is everything. After you do a block in timed mode, then you can go back and take your time and really review your answers. This is a prime example of how to be efficient when you study. Instead of half-assing a UWorld block in tutor mode, and then subsequently half-assing the review of that block, just do a block in time mode and then go back. Anyways, every day, no matter what, I would do at least 2 blocks of mixed UWorld questions on timed mode. So when I was reviewing my UWorld blocks, I would have a Word document open, and anything that I knew I needed to review, I would jot it down in that Word document. And I would organize that document by organ system. And these notes were very simple and very straightforward. For example, I'd write down something like, a glucagonoma can present with necrolytic migratory erythema. By the end of my 6 weeks of studying, That review sheet was about 50 pages long. It was a lot, but it kind of served as a personalized, high-yield review sheet that I would go over every single night. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to make your schedule. As far as making a schedule, just make sure it's personalized to your strengths and weaknesses. This is the time to be really honest with yourself and say, what am I good at and what am I shitty at? For example, I knew I was better at micro, cardio, biostats, and psych. So when I was making my schedule, I didn't allocate that much time to those subjects compared to subjects that I was shitty in, like renal. Now, first aid. First aid is amazing. I would read about 1 chapter a day from first aid. A subject like renal that I know I wasn't that good at, I would spend more time visiting that system until I was comfortable with it. The most important thing in regards to your schedule is to be honest with your strengths and be honest with your weaknesses. Identifying those factors is going to be the first step in your improvement. So contrary to popular practice, I didn't allocate one specific day a week to take off. But I usually would take 1 day a week off. But Farhan, how does that make sense? Well, it just depended on how good I felt that day. If I woke up in the morning and was ready to go and ready to study my ass off, then I would study. But some days when I would wake up and just feel like shit, I would be like, you know what? I'm not studying today. I saved my days off for the days that I really didn't feel like studying. And believe me, those days will come. Some days, I would wake up, look in the mirror, look deep into my soul, and just say, no, you're not doing this today. And then go back to sleep. See, I don't know if it'll work for you guys, but for me, it helped keep my mind sharp and it helped let me know that I'm in control of my decisions. No one tells me you want to study except for me. So, NBMEs and the 2 year-old assessments. I took 5 NBMEs total, and then I did the 2 year-old assessments. I took 1 NBME before I started studying, and then I took an NBME exam every Monday. Monday was the day of my step 1 exam. The U-World assessments, I took the first one a week before my exam, and I took the second one about 3 days before my exam. My step 1 score was about the average between my U-World 1 and my U-World 2, so like a 294. My step 1 exam question style was more like U-World than NBME, but a lot of my friends said theirs was more like NBME than U-World, so it's very variable. Even though my actual test wasn't like the NBME, the NBMEs did a good job of predicting my score. The score I got on my exam was about the average of my NBME scores, so like, yeah, 289-ish. The day before your exam, I recommend you take it off. It's gonna be hard to take off because a lot of times you feel nervous and anxious and you feel like you need to study more. Trust me, you wanna rest your mind as much as possible before you take this exam. You're not gonna learn anything new, nothing's gonna stick more, just relax. If anything, it'll take away your stamina for actual test day, and stamina is everything. Before you actually start the exam, there's a 15-minute tutorial on how to use the software. What a lot of people don't realize is this takes away 15 minutes from your break time. It's not a free 15 minutes. So at most, I recommend you take 5 minutes to kind of go over and get used to the software. What I did during the tutorial, I went to the lab values and jotted down some of the values that I knew I would have to reference during my exam, just to save time during my actual exam. During the exam, I recommend taking a break after every single block. Whether it's 5 minutes or 7 minutes, it doesn't matter. Go to the bathroom, stretch out, do some push-ups, do whatever you need to do to keep your mind fresh, keep your mind active. Eat a snack, whatever you want to do. It's a very long, very gruesome, intense exam, so you want to make sure you take your time with it. You don't want to rush this. After the exam, you will feel like you failed. I felt absolutely horrible after my exam. I was so depressed. So just do your best to keep your mind off things, spend time with family and friends, DM Instagram models, record yourself eating food, if that's your thing. And I know it's easier said than done, but just relax. There's nothing you can do now. What's done is done, and only God can save you at that point. Step scores usually come out on the 3rd Wednesday after your exam. So my exam was on Monday. 3 Wednesdays after that is when my score came out in the morning at 8:32 a.m. Before you get your step scores, for my friends at SGU, make sure you do all the things that you have to do on Sakai. They'll send you an email on the things that you have to get done. Just make sure they're done before your step scores come out. Make sure everything is ready and set to go, so they're just waiting for your step 1 score report, which will be emailed to you. As soon as you get your score, make sure you email the score report to your clinical education department. That's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I am here for you, so do not be afraid to reach out. Also, I'm kind of lonely, so just message me anyways. Peace!